While importing files and folders is all well and good if someone hands you a drive with captured media, or you need to follow along with a tutorial, but if you need to import footage directly from a camera, it's probably important that you learn how to do that as well. If you shoot digital video, your camera will most likely fall within one of two categories. It will either be a file-based camera that records media files to a flash memory card or a hard drive, or it will be a tape-based camera that records directly to videotape. The focus of this section is how to import from a file-based camera, as almost all cameras sold within the past few years, both consumer and professional, now support file-based recording. File-based cameras record media using different file structures, and not all of them may be supported natively in Final Cut Pro X. To see a list of the formats you can import and work with in Final Cut Pro, go to the Help menu and choose Final Cut Pro Help. Then locate the section called Supported Media Formats. In order to work with file-based cameras, you'll need to connect the camera directly to your Mac or use a card reader, drive, or other media that maintains the camera's original file structures. Assuming you've connected your camera, card reader, or drive to your Mac, click the Import from Camera icon at the far left of the toolbar. The camera import window will open. Your mounted card or drive will appear in the Camera section at the top of the list. Select the card and your clips will appear in the clip browser, organized by date. Move your mouse pointer right or left over any thumbnail to skim the contents of the clip. The skimmer is the red vertical line at your mouse pointer. It's new in Final Cut Pro X, but it's been around since iMovie 08. The value of the skimmer as opposed to a playhead is that you can locate the best parts of your video much faster. Once you've located the material you're looking for, press your spacebar and the clip will play from the current skimmer position. As in iMovie, you can import the entire clip or portions of it. To import the entire clip, select it, and a yellow selection range or boundary appears around the clip. To add clips to your selection, hold down the Command key and click on the thumbnails for the clips you want to add. When you're ready to import them, click the Import Selected button. A window appears with the now familiar options for optimizing and analyzing your incoming media. Noticeably missing, however, are the two options for organizing your media during import. As I mentioned earlier, only supported media files and folders on a mounted drive can be copied into the Events folder and keyword indexed. Media that is stored on camera flashcards and the like often have arcane file structures that must be converted before Final Cut Pro can recognize them. Depending on the native video format of your camera, you may want to create optimized media as you're importing it. This is generally something I recommend if you have the time and you're importing footage from a camera that records with an intraframe codec like H.264 or other MPEG variant. I also know that this footage has a lot of wind noise from the camera-mounted mic that I would like analyzed and fixed. When importing from a camera, you can import your media into a pre-existing event in your event library, or you can create a new event. Since this footage is not related in any way to the reenactor's media we imported earlier, I'll create a new event, then call it cattle roping. I'll also make sure I'm saving to my media drive, not the internal drive. Then click Import. When the clip has been imported, an orange bar appears below it. If you look in the event library, a new event labeled cattle roping was created and the 3 clips were imported into it. If you don't want to import the entire clip, you can alter the selection range to include less material. Simply drag on either side of the selection range to shorten it while watching the viewer. When the selection range encloses the range of footage you want to import, click the Import Selected button. An even faster way to create a selection range is to play the clip, then when you see the frame in the viewer you want the range to start on, press I on your keyboard. When the frame you want to end the range on appears in the viewer, press the O key. To preview your selection before importing it, press the / key, which is also the key with the question mark. When you're satisfied with your selection range, click the Import Selected button to import just the material in the range. Make sure the event you want targeted is still selected in the Import Preferences window, then click Import. You can also import media from cameras that record directly to tape. Final Cut Pro supports cameras that use FireWire or IEEE 1394 protocol. Generally speaking, these are cameras that record in the DV or HDV format. In order to import from these cameras, you'll need to connect your camera to a Mac using a 4 to 6 pin FireWire cable and have your camera turned on and in the VTR or play mode. From the File menu, choose Import from Camera. Your tape-based camera will appear in the Camera section. To begin playback from your camera, press your spacebar or click the play button at the bottom of the viewer. When you see the footage you want to import, click the Import button. The now familiar Import Options window appears. Choose an existing event or create a new one. I'm going to create a new event and call this Key Largo Diving. I'll leave the transcoding and analysis options as they are and click Import. The camera resumes playback and the media is imported into my events library. A running timecode overlay in the viewer lets you know where you are on the tape during the import process. When you see the frame you want to end the clip on, click the Stop Import button or press the Escape key on your keyboard. When you're finished importing your clip or clips, they'll appear in the event you targeted in the event library. Now just select the clip, then skim through it to see it in the viewer. Let me talk briefly about archiving your footage. Camera memory cards are essentially flash memory cards. That is, they were designed to be used, erased, and used again. It's therefore common practice to back up the contents of the card to a local drive before or after the media is imported. If the media on the card gets erased or damaged, you'll have a complete backup of it on your computer's hard drive. A camera archive is nothing more than a bit-for-bit copy or clone of your original source media. What's also cool is you can archive an entire tape if you've recorded using a tape-based camera. This way, you can put the fragile master tape on the shelf and never have to risk damaging it by putting it back into your camera or VTR in order to import. In the lower left of the camera import window, you'll find two buttons, Create Archive and Open Archive. To create an archive, click the button, then give it a name. Here I'll type out Cattle Roping Archive. You can also choose any mounted drive as your destination drive for the archive. Click OK, then in the upper left of the camera import window, under the heading Camera Archives, click the disclosure triangle next to the drive you set as the destination. A graphic will show you the process of your archive as it's being created. Once finished, you can view the contents of the archive by clicking on it. Now, when you skim over your clips, make selections and import, you'll be doing it from the archive. It's also helpful to know where the camera archive lives on your hard drive. In the Finder, open your Movies folder and you'll see that Final Cut Pro created a new folder labeled Final Cut Camera Archives. Inside you'll find all your saved camera archives. Archive files have a retro-looking film canister icon. They are also very large files, so you'll want to think about a long-term backup strategy for these files. The great thing about camera archives is that they are completely self-contained and can be moved to another Mac and open from within Final Cut Pro's camera import window. To open a camera archive, click the Open Archive button, then navigate to where you saved it and click Open. The other place you can open a camera archive is in the File menu. Choose Import, Re-import from Camera Archive. If you're an iMovie user, you'll be happy to know that you can import iMovie event libraries and projects right into Final Cut Pro to continue working with Final Cut Pro's more robust editing toolset. From the File menu, choose Import. You can either import your entire iMovie event library, or you can import individual iMovie projects. If you choose to import your iMovie event library, keep in mind this process can take some time depending on how big your iMovie event library is. Importing an iMovie event library is the option you would choose if you wanted all your iMovie events available from within Final Cut Pro. If you are only interested in continuing work on a project you began in iMovie, then you would choose iMovie Project. An import window appears, giving you access to all your iMovie projects. Just select a project and click Import. The files will import into Final Cut Pro's event library immediately, and you'll be able to work with them right away. Keep in mind that if you checked any optimization or analysis options in your import preferences, these processes will be occurring in the background. Once imported, my iMovie project appears in Final Cut Pro's project library as a film strip. Skimming over it, you can preview your iMovie project complete with your iMovie applied themes, transitions, and effects. Double-clicking on the project header opens a timeline where you can view your original edits and make changes using Final Cut Pro's editing tools. We'll be covering the timeline and the editing tools in a later chapter. I just wanted to show you how to turn an iMovie project into a Final Cut Pro project. In the next lesson, we're going to explore Final Cut Pro's event library, where you'll discover how quick Final Cut Pro organizes, manages, and locates your footage with its built-in intelligence.